Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Krishna. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Krishna Bhakti Prabhava Swami. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pachani Nirvishishya Bhakti Paspachani Ham Savasya Prabha Bhamata Sarvam Bhaktate Itina Pravajanti Man Buddha Bhava Samambita. I'm the source for all spiritual material worlds emanates, everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage my devotional souls and worship me with all their heart. I'm saying this, I'm not saying it because I need this. So please recite with me, it's for you. Okay. Matsuta Matsuta Prana Bodhayanta Pushpam Katyam Samam Nityam Tusham Tasam. The thoughts of my pure devotee dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. Tesam satatayuktanam pachatam priti upakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yinamam upayanti te. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, give the understanding by which they can come to me. Tesam evanakam praktam am ajnana samtama nasajami atma vabasto jnana dipena vasyata. To show them special mercy dwelling in their hearts is very the shining lamp of knowledge, the darkness born of ignorance. Sarve nushikantiya muktaya sambhavantiya tasam brahmam hapyonir ambicha pratapita. Should be understood that all species of life as son of Kunti are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving Father. Mam sayo vyabhichayana bhakti yogna sivati sadhunam samati chaitam brahma bhuyaya kalpate. When we engage in full devotion, service and failing in all circumstances, at once our sins and modes of material nature thus comes to the level of Brahma. Mamai Vamsho Shivela Kejiva Buddha Sanana Mana Shastrinindriyani Praktistani Kashati. Living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental path. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which includes the mind. Sarvasya samridishani vishnu matasmiti hyanam apanamcha vedasya sarve ame bhavitya vedanta krit vedavit evacha. I am seated in everyone's heart, and for me come remnants, knowledge and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. Brahma Buddha Prashanatma Nashoshati Nakamshati Samasadesho Bhuteshu Mat Bhaktim Navate Param. One who is thus constantly situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed toward every living entity. In that state he attains pure devotion of service unto me. Bhakti amama vichanti yamya satsmi tatvatha tatamam tatvato gyatva vijate tat anantram. One can understand me as I am as the Supreme Personality of Godhead only by devotional service. And when one is feeling full conscious of me, by such devotion he can enter into the Kingdom of God. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hridisayuna tishtati brahmayan sarva bhutani yantra bhutani mayaya. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated on a machine made of material energy. Manmana bhavmat bhakto machi mam nasku mama vaishasi satyamtam pratichoye prishvayosime. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this, because you are my very dear friend. Sarvadam Vaichika Mamikam Shambhachan From Sarvapabhya Mokshayasi Smama Chucha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful actions, do not fear. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So we have the last verse, 5-7. Amayam Shveshveloke Shiva Bhuta Sanatna Manasastvendriyani Paratistani Kapsati. So the living entity is a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. It's a part and parcel. But then the point is, if you are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, why do we transmigrate from one body to another? We transmigrate because we are seeking pleasure in a material atmosphere. That's when one understands the signs of the soul, can clearly understand this. That, but the blind materialist, they cannot. So the living entity, how do they get a certain body? We get a body, but
by his karma.
It depends of their
desires.
It depends of the mood of material nature. If they act in ignorance, they will gain this body. They act in passion. It depends of which moods they are acting.
Yam yam bhavi smam bhavam tayant antikalivam tam tam vete kantyam satadat bhava bhavita. What does it mean?
It depends on the consciousness. When they leave the body, the consciousness in which they leave the body, it determinate their next body.
Yeah, so whatever consciousness we are absorbed in at the time of death, that will determine our next body. That, but
it depends of our whole life acting, how we act.
that's a good point. What makes that up in the purport? What will you fix your mind on when at the time of death, time of death, all the organs shut down? It's quite a disturbing moment. So where is the mind to go take shelter? Where it took shelter of during one's life. That it's not that I'm going to engage in sense gratification all my life, and then the last moment I will think of Krishna. But that will not work. That the last moment of life, many people say who had near-death experience, it was like all my life came before me in a few seconds. So that's what's happening. Your life, if you have been a devotee all your life, so what then becomes before you, that's good. That makes you mind on Krishna. So that's what we have been attached to during our lives.
Which verse was that? Yam yam verse.
8, 6, I think.
8, 6.
Let's check. 8, 6, 5. Yeah, 8, 6. I'm right. Yam yam bhavi smam. Yeah. So but how does it really work? That's explained here. Text 8. Saram yadavapnoti yatshapi ukramatisvaram Krit vaitani samyati Vayogandan ivasayat. The living entity in the material world carries its different conceptions of life from one body to another, as the air carries aromas. Thus one takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another. So that's how does it work at the time of death? How is the soul transported to the next destination? Who is the driver who is going to transport it? It's the super soul. And the super soul controls our subtle body and the gross body. But death means the death of the gross body, but the subtle body is still there. And within the subtle body is the super soul and the soul. It's put in place by 7 kinds of airs or something, 7 or 8, I don't know the number, but they are keeping it in place, the soul. That therefore we have great yogis by breathing exercise, pranayam, they can move their soul from time of death to the Randra here. They leave their body at an auspicious moment. So at the time of death, the soul is there, but the consciousness is there of the soul. Your last thoughts will be your next destination. Minute dependence is there. The change his body undergoes depends on him. So the next body we get depends on us. The mentality that we have created during our lives, the consciousness, will determine. And also all our actions. You said karma, yes. Our actions and reactions. All the actions in this life will produce reactions in the next life. If he has made his consciousness like that of a cat or dog, he is sure to change a cat's, dog or dog's body. If your conscience is like the cat or the dog, that's what our dogs doing. Barking. Like the politicians, they are barking. That's yes. And the cat, yeah. Anyway, eating, sleeping. That's the mode of ignorance. That they like to sleep long and then eat. One lives such a life, you get a cat and a dog body. And if he is in Krishna consciousness, he will be transferred to Krishna Loka in the spiritual world and will associate with Krishna. His present body and present activities are the background of the next body. The subtle body which carries the conceptions of the next body develops another body in the next life. So that's you have like when they construct a skyscraper, they first put all the metal construction, the skeleton of the building, and then they fill it up. So the subtle bodies, the form of the next body is all over there on the subtle form. And in the womb of the next mother, it's the female body is a machine that can create other machines. But the machine is created upon the subtle body in the womb. The form is already there. That, the process of transmigrating from one body to another and struggling while in the body is called karshati, or struggle for existence. And life can be a struggle. Yes, sure. That, so, what did we learn? We choose our own body, our next body in this life. That, yeah. And we learned that the subtle body carries the consciousness and the soul under the guise of the super soul to the next body. That, and the super soul is already destined who will be our father and mother in the next life. That because the soul and the subtle body, everything enters in the semen of the father. Well, it comes first to grains, and then grains are eaten, and then it comes into the semen, injected in the womb of the mother, and there the production starts again.
That's interesting with grain, that soul is in the grain, because someone may not eat grain at all.
Yeah, that probably not only in grain, but that, but it's inconceivable for us how the soul comes into that. But it's mentioned in the scriptures. If one falls in one goes to the heavenly planets, and the banquet credit of pious activities is nearly zero, then the soul falls down to the earthly planet and comes down to a drop of rain, enters in grains, and that is then eaten. Anyway, Krishna knows who will eat that kind of rain. But that's an example which is in the scripture. For the spirit soul is pure, but consciousness is adulterated, is changed according to our association with the material modes. So we learned in the previous chapter, I spoke about Uddhav Gita, 10 ways to change your consciousness, to 10 ways to change your association with the modes. Important knowledge. Consciousness is changed by the association of material qualities. Association with material modes means the people you are associating with, the food you eat, that the work you do, that so the way you live, how long you sleep or not sleep. But anyway, by that it's adulterated. Passion comes in and wants to enjoy something in this world. That if you associate with passionate people who speaks always about sex enjoyment, you become affected. Or drinking. That's if you come in an environment where this is normal, good luck. It's very, because you are in an environment and they think, oh, these Hare Krishnas, they are not normal. Enjoy life, drink, what's the point? That
You live very short life.
real consciousness is Krishna consciousness. But if consciousness is adulterated by some type of mentality, in the next life it gets a corresponding body. That it does not necessarily get a human body again. So, Srila Prabhupada said this so-called civilization is preparing everyone to become cats and dogs in their next life. That's quite a heavy criticism, but it's true. There are 8,400,000 species, and from the 8 million there are only 400,000 human species. Ukramantam siddham vapi bunchanan bhakunam vitam vimudanana pashanti pashtijana saksisa. The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of the modes of nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this. One has knowledge and one sees, oh, I have this body, and this happened in my life and that. You have an idea of your previous lives, for sure.
What you did.
Because everything you suffer, you have caused others to suffer. So that's, yeah. You can see if you are in what family you are born. You can understand your modes, material modes of previous life. You can know your previous life.
Rajguna and Tauba.
And yeah, that can be. You can see what we will see in the 17th chapter. What kind of faith you are connected to. We know what faith you have. Does the faith you have developed in previous life that you are born in? The kind of faith, yes. And that's also interesting. So, that's called jnana saksha, seeing to the scriptures. This requires a great amount of knowledge understood from Bhagavad Gita and similar literatures, Srimad Bhagavatam, heard from a bona fide spiritual master. Heard from a spiritual master. Those who have developed spiritual knowledge can see the spirit is different from the body and is changing its body and enjoying in different ways. A person in such knowledge can understand how the conditioned living entity is suffering in this material existence. So then we understand why people suffer in this one. But they should come out of it and be Krishna conscious and liberate themselves to the spiritual world. Good. Text 11. Yatanto yoginascenam pasyantyatman yapashitam yatanto pi akritatmano nainam pasyanta sheshata. The endeavoring transcendentalists who are situated in self-realization can see all this clearly, but those whose mind are not developed and who are not situated in self-realization cannot see what is taking place, though they may try. Are seated. That's text 11. In the present day there are many so-called yogis, and there are many so-called yoga associations of yogis, but they are actually blind in the matter of self-realization. Yoga is meant for self-realization. It's not meant to reduce your fat. That it's not meant to get a healthy body, right? That's not the purpose, but we are using it for it. It's also good. Especially the preparatory asanas. But it's like my Hatha Yoga teachers told me that be conscious of your breathing. They stressed that very much. He said yoga means becoming conscious of what you do. That's really a nice point. So, such people cannot understand the process of transmigration of the soul. Bhakti Yoga, those engaged in pure devotional service can understand how things are taking place. Only those who studied Bhagavad Gita in association of a bona fide spiritual master or devotees, they can understand the subtle platform. Subtle platform is the subtle laws of material nature. Yes, discussed previously. One who sees action in inaction and inaction in action sees things as they are. One who sees that one who acts in Krishna consciousness is inactive materially, because he will not get reactions. That's fire emanating from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then once Krishna consciousness will begin. By the moonshine, all vegetables are nourished. Gives taste, the moon gives taste to the vegetables. Interesting. And that's confirmed by scientists. Without this mercy, there cannot be sun. Without His mercy, there cannot be moon. And without His mercy, there cannot be fire. Without the help of the sun, moon and fire, no one can live. So Krishna, He gives us this body, but we have eyes to see. But to see, you need the sun. Otherwise, there is no question of seeing. And to see, there must be objects to be seen, and they must be formed. That Krishna is all doing that. And the power to see comes from Krishna. Such an eye, such a complicated thing, that how it works. But if you have an eye and there is no light, what's the use of your eye? So Krishna before explains how we get bodies, but these bodies can only exist by the mercy, because He gives us air to breathe. He gives food that comes, that we can eat. That we should not take that for granted. It's all arranged by higher authorities.
It's so complicated. We think there is no God.
Yeah, then such a body, such a complicated machine. But it works, but we don't know really how it works and why it works.
How it works.
But that's a subtle energy. The subtle body makes it working, because there's consciousness in the subtle body. There's direct that all, and that consciousness is our consciousness, but also the super consciousness of the super soul, which directs the whole machine and makes all every cell make it move. And it makes it move. Every cell, the combination of all these things, makes our karma. What kind of body, what goes wrong in the body at a certain age, of this or that. It all depends on, yeah. Yamavishya sabhutani Daryam Ochasa Pushnami Sardasi Sarva Samabhutva Rasatmakam. I enter in each planet, and by my mercy they stay in orbit. I become the moon, and thereby the supply the juice of all vegetables. When the spirit soul is there, a living man can float on the water, but when the living spark is out of the body, and the body is dead, the body sinks. Interesting. Similarly, all these planets are floating in space, and this is due to the entrance of the supreme energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Due to the moon's influence, the vegetables become delicious. Human society is working, living comfortably, enjoying food due to the supply from the Supreme Lord. So we think it's all mine, it's for my enjoyment. But it's given by God, supplied to facilitate the whole system. Therefore, before we eat, we should pray. Sarya Avijaja. Pray always before. That's important. The Christians also all pray, thanking God for giving their daily bread. Yeah, that's good. That's appreciating. This is coming from God. That's a gift of God. That's very good. That yeah.
In Bulgarian tradition, in Bulgarian tradition, на Великден не ставаше. Великден как е на английски?
Easter.
Easter, yeah. On Easter, after Christianity eat all the foods, after that leaving to the Jesus to eat after that all the evening.
На Коледа, на Бъдни вечер.
This is on Christmas.
Christmas, okay, on Christmas.
Yeah.
When we eat, after that we give to the Jesus.
Yeah, anyway, that whatever they do, Srila Prabhupada said we should not criticize other religions, that why they do things, that maybe in the modes of nature, that for sure, that yeah. But anyway, it's better to have a certain religion than be an atheist. At least appreciate. That's good. Ham Vaishvana Robutva Praninam Deyam Ashita Panapana Sama Yukta Pachamanam Saturvidam. I am the fire of digestion in all the bodies of living entities, and I joy with the air of life, outgoing and incoming, to digest the 4 kinds of foodstuff. So we eat and then we expect that it digests. But it's not automatically, it's Krishna as a super soul who arranges the whole thing to digest. That it's not by nothing, it's a most complicated process. But what's the intelligence, what steers it? It's on the subtle platform, on the control of the super soul. Most people don't think about it. They think about it when it doesn't happen in digestion, then they are in trouble. But otherwise they think about it. But we should always be conscious, I'm eating, and by Krishna's mercy it will digest. It digests by Agni, the fire of digestion. Your fire is high, if the fire is not high, that's not good. But if the fire is too high, it's also not good. That's so we have to be careful, balance. That the fire is representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Brahman is situated in the form of fire within the stomach and is digesting all kinds of foodstuffs. Prahlad Nandamatsi used to say when he gives second initiation, now you are a Brahman, you have a new service. Brahmins must eat on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because Lord Vishnu eats to the mouth of the Brahmins. So then you have to eat for Krishna. Yeah. So, and then that's how it's beneficial to offer prasad to the Brahmins or the devotees. Devotees are higher than Brahmins. Supposed to be. So that's how we get the mercy of the Lord, by pleasing the Brahmins. Whatever we want, we please the Brahmins by offering them prasad. That's the best charity. That happens in all Vedic traditions. they have a special occasion, they are going to feed the Brahmins, and then they will eat afterwards, the remnants. But they please the Brahmins, they eat the Brahmins, because that's a problem when I give lectures by Indians. They expect me to eat Indian, because it's important for them. So I'm eating while looking.
Yeah, what do you do?
Mostly I ask to pack it up and I take it with me. But it depends for the situation. Anyway.
Sometimes you have to take something.
It's recorded, so.
Sometimes, no problem.
Brahman is situated in the form of fire within the stomach and is digesting all kinds of foodstuff. Living entity is not independent in the eating process. So we are not independent in anything in this world. Whatever you want to, you move your arm by the mercy of Krishna. Yeah, whatever you remember is by the mercy of Krishna. But we think, we are doing it. We are the great man, the controller. That next moment a little disease, and there is the big controller. Finished.
Absolutely.
So therefore Krishna says here, it shows now that he is the controller. Sarvasya samriti sannivishti matashmitichanam apansa vedasa sarve amiva vitya vedantakrit vidafite vacham. So Krishna says here, not alone that he said before, I'm the fire of digestion, I'm the light of the moon and the sun. That's good. These are gross things. But now he's explaining I'm also the subtle things. That Mata Smiti Ganama Pamsa. I'm in the heart and I give you remembrance. Whatever I want you to remember, you will remember. And I give that to you. According to your karma, or to the devotees, I give it to them for their service. Remembrance, knowledge and forgetfulness. Forgetfulness is Krishna's mercy. Suppose you remember that in your next life you were a fly and there an elephant comes. You become crazy. Or you remember all your frustrations of previous lives. You cannot live anymore, it's too much. So Krishna makes you forget, it's his mercy. That if you still remember all your family of previous life and what they did to you,
You'll get crazy.
So by Krishna's mercy, you forget these things. Thank you, Krishna. The living entity forgets everything of his past life, but he has to act according to the directions of the Supreme Lord, who is a witness of all his work. Here, that's significant. We forget, but Krishna does not forget. He gives you exactly the reactions, what you deserve. He knows. He knows. It's not because you forget, I don't know it anymore, so I have no reactions. No. You may have you drive on the car and you're driving too fast and they give you a fine and you cannot say, oh, I forgot the law. And the policeman will say, okay, then it's okay. No, he will give you a fine that our karma comes. I heard it in the 60s. Was a Flemish man, a Flemish policeman, and he was on vacation in Spain. Spain was still under this dictator at that time, and he was driving on the road. He was driving too fast, and the police stopped him, and he had to give his passport. At that time, in your passport, your profession was mentioned, and it was mentioned that he was a policeman, and and the Spanish police asked him, "You are a policeman?" And the man said, "Yes, yes, I'm policeman." Oh, then said, "Double."
Double.
He had a double fine because he had to give the exam.
That's good.
So you cannot escape your karma. But,
He told that you passed.
the Vedas give the right direction to people so that they can properly mold their lives and come back to Godhead, back home. The Vedas offer knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and Krishna is incarnation of Srila Vyasadeva, is the compiler of Vedanta Sutra. So Vedanta Sutra or Brahma Sutras, there are 4 books and they explain 3 things: Sambandha Gyan, Abhideya Gyan, Prayojan Gyan. Sambandha Gyan is knowing, re-establishing our relationship with Krishna. Abhideya Gyan means engaging in that relationship. And Prayojan means the perfection of that relationship, love for Krishna. So that's what the Vedas are about. It's all about Krishna. But of course, some parts are very bewildering. We have heard Narada Muni chastising Srila Vyasadeva. Right? So the Lord gives him the intelligence to renew his work where he ended his last life. That's interesting. That where you ended last life, you will get again. So people think, oh, it's too much, let me commit suicide. They commit suicide, but in the next life, they come to the point where they ended last time. It's for nothing. So one must be responsible. So not only does a living entity enjoy or suffer in this world according to the dictation of the Supreme Lord situated locally in the heart, but he receives the opportunity to understand the Vedas for him. So it is set as well. There's two things. It provides the facilities to enjoy according to your karma, and it gives the suffering according to your karma. But it gives also the opportunity to hear the Vedas or the scriptures. You will find in every society there is some religion and there are some scriptures. That's because of course, scriptures in the modes. We will see in chapter 17. Yeah. But anyway, it explains 3 things. Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojan, because it represents the Vedanta Sutra. It says, verse 15 indicates Sambandha, Abhideya and Prayojan. It's a summary. Verse 16 to 18, knowledge about the relationship of Krishna with Krishna, Sambandha Gyan. And then verse 19, Abhideya, the process of attainment, devotional service. And the final verse 20, Prayojan, the goal. So it says here, verse 16 to 18 give knowledge of a relationship with Krishna, are also sometimes referred to as the Trishloka Gita. So 16, 17, 18 is the Trishloka, the Sambandha Gyan.
16, 17, 18.
Yeah. And 16 we are going to read. 16, 17, 18 is Sambandha. Sambandha means 3 things, Sambandha Gyan. Knowing who Krishna is, knowing who we are, and knowing what our relationship is. Tvamima Purusha Loke Ksara Saksara Vacha Ksara Sarvani Bhutani Kutasto Ksara Uchate There are two classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible. In the spiritual world, every living entity is infallible. So here we learn to what category we are belonging. Think we belong to the fallible. Unfortunately.
Definitely.
Why do we know that? Because we have a material body. That we will try to understand.
Is it that mean that eternal servers of Krishna, like Narada Muni, Prabhupada, Nityasiddhas, they have the same quality of spirituality like our energy, which are fallible or different?
Yeah, that is the Nityasiddhas and the Sadhana Siddhas.
Okay.
But let's first hear the purport and try to understand, and then we come back on your question. Yes. So it can be divided in two classes, the fallible and the infallible. When they are in contact with the material world, they are called Jiva Bhuta. So Jiva, the Jiva is the soul in contact with the material world. Also, the soul cannot be in contact, we have heard that, because the soul is different from matter. But the symptom of the soul is consciousness. And it's the consciousness that is polluted, not the soul. That's not possible. It's the pure consciousness of the soul that's polluted. So then, when they are in contact with the material world, they are fallible. Those who are in oneness with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, however, are called infallible. In oneness. This oneness means that we have the same interest. If we want to serve Krishna, all devotees want to serve Krishna, the same interest. Yes. Those who are in oneness with the Supreme Lord, however, are called infallible. Oneness does not mean that they have no individuality. That's a misconception to think that this oneness means my individuality disappears. No, it's not merging with the Supreme. We are always individual. Krishna has said that before. Atvevam chatunasham natam nevecha nartibham nashevna pavishma sarvavayamatapam. You know still these verses? You remember them sometimes?
2:12?
That it could be. It says, probably. It says, Krishna says to Arjuna, you, me and all these kings have existed in the past, are existing now, and will never cease to exist in the future. So we will never stop to exist.
But like Mayavadis, they say, oh, this refers to the
we don't care what they say. People can say so much, this and that, but what does Krishna mean? Yeah. The pure devotee knows. Yeah. Oneness does not mean that they have no individuality, but that there is no disunity. So, in ISKCON we may have different opinions of so many things, but we agree all we should serve Prabhupada. That's unity. They are all agreeable to the purpose of creation. They are all agreeable to the purpose of creation. That, of course, in the spiritual world there is no such thing as creation, but since the Supreme Personality of God, as stated in Vedanta Sutra, is the source of all emanations, that conception is explained. As long as a living entity is conditioned, its body changes due to contact with matter. So as long as we are conditioned. So we have to get out of that, out of the banyan tree. Cut our relationship with it. Matter is changing, so the living entity appears to be changing. So we think we change because the matter changes. But every moment some cells change. You look, every day you look in the mirror and you think I'm the same person, but still something has changed. It's very subtle. It's day by day the body changes. But in the spiritual world the body is not made of matter. There is no such change. In the material world the living entity undergoes 6 changes. Birth, growth, duration, reproduction, and then dwindling and vanishing. So we are dwindling. That's the stage I am. I'm going backwards. Body is going backwards. You need to take food supplements, the massage, and exercise to keep it up.
To be dwindling.
Because otherwise dwindling is happening. It's going backwards. And then it vanishes. There are the changes of the material body, but in the spiritual world the body does not change. There is no old age, there is no birth, there is no death. So, changing its body, therefore, they are all fallible. In the spiritual world, however, they are always liberated in oneness. So, if we remain conditioned, we change bodies and we remain fallible. But does not mean that we cannot become infallible. We can become infallible when we give up our condition. So, and that condition we can give up by understanding first is Sambandhagyan. And that's the first thing to understand. There is a living entity, and that's my position. And the next point is to understand who is Krishna. Besides these two, there is the greatest living personality, the Supreme Soul, the imperishable Lord Himself, who has entered the 3 worlds and is maintaining them. So there is not only me who are fallible now, but there is Krishna, the Supreme Infallible. Uttama Purushastvanya Paramachyet Yudarita Loko Lokatraya Vishya Vibhartavya Ishva. Above the innumerable living entities, some of whom are conditioned and some of whom are liberated, there is the Supreme Personality, who is Paramatma. Nityo Nityananam Shaitana Shaitananam. So, among all living entities, upon all those who are eternal, that there is, and all those who are maintained, there is a Supreme Person who maintains all of them. A Supreme Eternal who maintains all eternals. Yeah. Who maintains and gives up a facility for enjoyment according to their different works. So we are eternal as a spirit soul, Krishna also. But He's maintaining us. And He gives all facility for enjoyment. So it's important that to know Krishna, and Krishna is further explained in the next verse. Yasmaksaram atitram aksara apishottama autasmiloke vedisa patita purushottama. So that's the last of these 3 verses, and this is the Trisloka Gita, these 3 verses, which explains the living entity and then the Supreme Lord. Because I'm transcendental beyond both fallible and infallible, and because I'm the greatest, I'm celebrated both in this world and in the Vedas. So that's Krishna. No one can surpass Him. That also not the liberated or not the conditioned soul, none of them can surpass Him. Therefore is the greatest personality. Now it is clear that the living entities and the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are individuals.
Different from each other.
Different, but individuals. So one must have these points clear to have a relationship with Krishna. Otherwise, and now we go to Abhideya. What does one do when one knows that? Action. That's Abhideya. Yo mamevama samudo janati purushottamam sarva vidbhajati man sarva bhavena bharata. Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is the knower of everything. He therefore engaged himself in full devotional service of Son of Bharat. Anyone who knows Lord Krishna to be the Supreme Person is actually the knower of everything. That because Krishna is everything, is at the same time, because everything comes from him, he's in everything, everything is in him. We cannot understand that with our intelligence. We get short circuit. We cannot process that on the material platform. Must be processed to the heart. The Dhammi Buddhi Yogam Tam. Krishna gives realization. The perfect knower, without wasting his valuable time, engages directly in Krishna consciousness, the devotional service to the Supreme Lord. So that's what the devotee does. He does not waste a second, always engaging in Krishna consciousness. No time for Maya, always busy. You travel with a car, sometimes, we go on Sankirtan, and we have a traffic jam, and you see in all the other cars, everyone becomes nervous, and we take our japa beat and we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We chant, we read, always busy in Krishna consciousness. No time. Yes. Without wasting his valuable time, engages directly in Krishna consciousness, the devotional service of the Supreme. In full devotional service. So one must hear from Krishna. That's the best source to hear from. Simply to hear like dogs, like hogs, is not sufficient. One must be able to understand from authorities. It is not that one should simply speculate academically. One should be submissively hear Bhagavad Gita. So humility is the first item of knowledge we learned in chapter 13. Definition of Jnana. The first point is humility. And that's the key to understanding Bhagavad Gita. Humility does not mean weakness. Submission. Submission, Humility means understanding my factual situation. I'm completely dependent on Krishna. That's not weakness. That's knowledge. Humility is a result of knowledge. One should submissively, that's if one is humble, then one submissively hear Bhagavad Gita, that these living entities are always subordinate to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anyone who is able to understand this according to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, knows the purpose of the Vedas. No one else knows the purpose. But if anyone, after speculating hundreds of thousands of lives, does not come to the point that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that one has to surrender him to him, all this is speculation for so many years, and life is a useless waste of time. So that means if you don't understand this Sambandha Gyan, who Krishna is, who we are, what our relationship is, that we are submissive, you cannot perform devotional service. You cannot make spiritual advancement. It's just not possible. Therefore, how important is this Sambandha Gyan? And then engage in devotional service. But that's another thing. How to engage in devotional service? It's understanding Krishna's position and understanding that everything belongs to him. And everything is meant for his enjoyment. So that's basic spiritual knowledge, and that one must offer it without false ego. Otherwise, it's not going to work. That it's not pure. Something for me, something for him. No?
Business.
No, business, yeah. Give everything. And then the prayojan, last verse. Iti goyatamam sastram idam uktamayanagam eta bhutva buddhi mamsya kitta kitya sabharata. This is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures, a sinless one, and is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavor will know perfection. So this is confidential knowledge. Because one who understands this will become wise, but it's not easy to understand this knowledge. One must be humble. One must understand who Krishna is, who we are, that we are submissive to him, that we are controlled by him. So a lot of knowledge is there. But if that basic knowledge is not there, you cannot perform devotional service. Impersonalists don't have that basic knowledge. They don't know that God is a person, and that's explained here. That's a problem. They think themselves God. Who are you going to serve when you are God? I merge in Brahmana, I serve myself. You are God, I am God. No problem. Whatever path you follow, it's okay. It's all the same.
They said the book is only the first stage. After that you have to turn them out.
Yeah.
Listen your heart.
This is the substance of all revealed scriptures. One should understand this as it's given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By understanding this philosophy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and engaging in his transcendental service, everyone can become freed from all contamination of the modes of nature. Devotional service is a process of spiritual understanding. Devotional service is a process of spiritual understanding. Understanding means knowledge. And devotional service takes place within the internal energy of the Supreme Lord. If we serve Krishna, we are not in contact with the material energy, but with Krishna's direct spiritual energy. So, therefore we should become Mahatmas. Mahatmanas tu Mamparta, Devim Bhakti Ashvita, 9:12 I think, yeah? That we should become Mahatmas. Mahatmas take shelter of the divine energy, the spiritual energy. How do they do that? 9:13. Satatam kirtyantamam yatanta shatar tavitaha. Satatam, always. Kirtan. Always kirtan. Kirtanam. Yeah, always kirtan. Everything we do for Krishna should be for the glorification of Krishna. Kirtan. Then we are under the spiritual energies. Unless one is free from all sinful reactions, it is very difficult to understand Krishna. So the heart must be pure to understand really Krishna. to understand deeply that Sabandha Gyan, the heart must be pure. We may think we understand, but if we really understand, we don't walk out here and forget Krishna. No, that's not a deep understanding. I'm walking out and again in my own selfishness. Mine. Devotional service is so pure and potent that once one is engaged in devotional service, he automatically comes to the states of sinlessness. So even if you engage in devotional service, even if you are impure, but you do it on the order of the spiritual master, then the heart will become purified. You want to please the spiritual master. One has to surmount his weakness of heart. The first fall down is caused by the desire to lord it over material nature, control material nature. The second weakness of heart is that one increases the propensity to lord it over material nature, and one becomes attached to matter and the possession of matter, mine. In this chapter, in this verse, 5 verses describes the process of freeing oneself from the weaknesses of heart, and the rest of the chapter from the 6th verse to the end discusses Purushottam Yoga. Yeah, the first 5 verses, the banyan tree, is how to get rid of this weakness of heart. Cut the tree with knowledge, acts of knowledge and attachment. Then we come to chapter 16, the divine and the demoniac natures. We will discuss that on Monday, right? Monday we will discuss that. Good. So tomorrow we have a program in Varna, right? At what time do we leave?
11:15.
11. Yeah, 11:15.